a sweet tart with creme brulee, mix it together and get Kirsten Tibballs to make it for you. You know you're going to have a good day, Kirst.
This is one of my favourites that I'm sharing with you, and sometimes we hold on to recipes, but I'm not that sort of person.
She's not.
This is a little bit of butter.
Yes.
Quite
a little bit.
Of butter. Brown sugar in this pastry. We've got some egg yolk, salt, and then, of course, flour. Mix it together. Let it sit in the fridge for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then we roll it out. But it gives us a really flaky pastry without being a puff pastry. Yeah. So do you want to start on the custard for me?
Yes.
So we're going to put the milk and cream in the saucepan with some vanilla bean paste and some lemon zest. And I'm going to roll this out. This is a really easy pastry to roll out. I know a lot of people are a little bit nervous when it comes to pastry, but you're going to love this one.
And some vanilla bean paste, 1.5 teaspoons, and some lemon zest. Fantastic.
Now I'm using a 20 centimetre fluted pan. Has a bottom that comes out. Just drop it in, and then you've got to tuck all the pastry in. Nice. So it goes right into the corners. If you want to start, you're doing all the hard stuff actually. If you want to start with the custard base.
Sure.
So we're going to put in the egg yolks, we've got some brown sugar, and then we've got the beautiful boule de crème fraîche that we're going to add in there as well.
And by adding the custard powder at this stage, it just ensures we don't have any lumps. Is that right?
This is a great way of doing it, and this is what we call a slurry in the business.
Okay.
And that's what they use in building industries when they're making the cement mixture. Very similar. This is a slurry, so it's a great base. Yes, so to gradually add it, then add in the creme fraiche. It will be quite thick, but a lot of people put this straight into the hot pan, and that's what I think gives you lumps.
I will mix that in. This in itself looks so good. Okay, you happy with that?
That looks fantastic.
Okay, teamwork here. I'm just going to pour that hot mixture in. There we go. And we're going to thicken this now?
Back into the pot to thicken. As soon as it starts to thicken, we take it off the heat, and I happen to have a clean bowl here for you, and then we're going to add the butter in. For the pastry, I'm just going to chill that a little bit, and then I'm going to put my lining in there. So this is just some baking paper. You can see that's folded up beautifully. And then we've cut around. Did you do that fancy?
I did.
Pattern around the edge. But a little tip with baking paper is it's coated with silicone, so to soften it so it doesn't dint your tart. I'm ruining your handiwork. Scrunch it up and smooth it out, which breaks down the silicone and makes it softer, and it's less likely to put crease marks into your pastry. So I'm going to flatten that out, line the tart, fill it with rice, and blind bake it.
Nice one.
How's that?
Looking good.
Very, very flaky. If you can put half of each, we're going to leave some for the garnish, in the base of the tart.
So we've got blueberries.
And some raspberries. You can really use any sort of berries.
So it's not just a standard brulee, like you got a little extra surprise in there too.
Pour that over.
And this now goes into the oven. How long are we going to cook it for?
We're going to cook it for 20 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius in a fan-forced oven. Cover all the berries.
And then we'll go straight to the oven. Well, doesn't this look a treat?
It does look a treat. We've cooled it at room temperature, placed it in the fridge to chill completely for a couple of hours. Just releasing it from the base.
And now for the brulee part.
Now, if you don't have a gas torch, you can put this under a grill, but make sure the grill is on high heat before you start, and it'll do the same thing. It'll caramelise the sugar for you. Try to do it as even as possible and try not to get too much on the crust.
And we're using cast sugar when we're bruleeing, so we get a little
Always
crunch.
caster. The finer the sugar, the better, not icing sugar, so it's easier to caramelise. I feel like a bit of a tradesman with the tools. So lightly go over the surface. Don't stay in one spot for too long. And you can always add more sugar if you need it.
Oh, she's ready.
Not yet. Berries on.
Oh, on the side, so not in the middle. So I would have gone straight in the middle, but it looks a little more artistic on the side.
And I like to taper it out.
Nice.
Dusting of icing sugar.
I really want to try it.
Shall we?
Yes.
Big or little?
Big.
Oh, look at that crack.
That's a nice sound. Wow. And there's that custard. That is perfectly set. You can see the berries throughout it and that brulee on the top.
Is it love?
I love that. I love you. I love this tart. It's so good. Thanks, Kirst.
Thank you for having me.